So last day we discussed about the structure of a flower and different parts of a flower. And then we discussed about the orientation of different floral parts in a flower. Depending on the uniformity in the arrangement of floral whorls, we can define or we can assume a symmetry for a flower. So depending on the pattern of arrangement of petals, sepals, calyx and corolla, or see for example petals, sepals, androecium and gynoecium, we can assume which is the symmetry of a flower. What is symmetry? Whether a flower or when we view a flower, does all the sides are equal? If a flower, if in a flower, petals, sepals, androecium and gynoecium are universally arranged or similarly arranged or it was arranged in an order, it is possible to cut that flower into equal halves through many planes, and if it is possible, that flower is called actinomorphic and the symmetry is called radial symmetry. Let's go to this diagram, and if you see the first flower, this flower can be cleaved in any of the plane or if you cut anything, or there are 5 petals, 5 sepals and everything are present, and if you cut through any plane you will get equal halves. But if you see the second flower, especially some Orchidaceae, see for example Orchidaceae and Fabaceae, we can cut this flower only through a single plane. So the symmetry is bilateral, and such a condition is called zygomorphic symmetry or zygomorphic flower. So first one having radial symmetry are called actinomorphic flower, and with bilateral symmetry are called zygomorphic flower. So see this diagram. If you see this slide, you can see what it is. See, if you see the first diagram, we can make cleavage on all planes, or we can cut the flower into 2 equal halves through multiple planes, and such a flower is called regular or actinomorphic. If you come to the second flower, right side, we can cleave the flower only through a vertical plane in this flower, or a flower can be divided into 2 halves only through a single plane. And the last one is, some flowers are having a particular phenomena that we cannot cleave flower to 2 equal halves through any planes, or we cannot cleave a flower, or we cannot cut the flower into 2 equal halves, because totally asymmetric conditions. Such flowers are called irregular. So there are regular flowers, they are called actinomorphic. There are flowers which can be cleaved through a single plane, they are called zygomorphic. There are flowers which cannot be cleaved at all. Now, then we discussed about the orientation of ovary, or how gynoecium is located. What is the location of gynoecium in a flower? In some flowers, ovary is having a position above all the floral whorls. Normally, the orientation of floral whorls are calyx, followed by corolla, followed by androecium, followed by gynoecium. If this order is true, the gynoecium will be having the maximum, the superior gynoecium will be occupying the superior position on the top, and all other floral whorls are arranged below it. Such a floral arrangement is called a hypogynous condition, or it is called hypogyny, and here ovary is superior and all other floral whorls are inferior. Let's see this diagram. Here the first diagram shows the hypogynous condition. See this here, ovary. View my mouse position. This is the ovary. Ovary is having the superior position, and there are stamens, then there are petals, then there are sepals, and this is the thalamus. So when ovary is having a supreme or superior position, the condition is called hypogyny. Hypogyny. If you see the second diagram, see this. Here you can see like this. The thalamus is a cup-shaped structure. See, this green color is the thalamus. Thalamus is formed into a cup-like or semi-cup-like structure. Ovary is inside the thalamus, and all other floral whorls are halfway. Ovary പകുതിയോളം വരും ബാക്കി floral whorls arrangement. So here gynoecium is half superior. This condition is called perigynous condition. And the last one, if you see this diagram, thalamus has formed as a wall over the ovary. Ovary പുറത്ത് thalamus ഒരു layer പോലെ form ചെയ്തു കഴിഞ്ഞു. So the ovary is engulfed in the thalamus. All other floral whorls are produced on the rim. മുകളിലത്തെ റിമ്മിലാണ് ബാക്കി എല്ലാ floral whorls arrange ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ളത്. And this kind of arrangement is called epigynous ovary or epigynous condition. I hope it's clear what is hypogyny, what is perigyny, and what is epigyny. These characteristic features are very significant because all these are characters for determining the systematic position of a plant. Whenever we are getting an unknown plant, by assuming the characteristic features of that flower, especially morphological characters, we are giving them a systematic position. And when we do that, position of ovary is a key point. So it's very, very important. So let's go to calyx. What is calyx? They are the outermost whorl of the flower. Often they will be having green color. Some plants, calyx is also colored. Then it is called a petaloid sepal. Petaloid nammal parayarundi. And they protect. What is their function? When a flower is in a bud condition, the calyx will cover the bud completely. But when it matures, corolla വളർന്ന് പുറകോട്ട് വരുമ്പോൾ calyx ചെറുതായിട്ട് മാറും. The individual units, the units of calyx or calyx is formed of multiple leaf-like structures, and each leaf-like structures, each units are called sepals, and either the calyx can be or either the sepals can be united to form a single structure, or it can be different. Either the sepals can be united to form a single unit, or it can stand divided. When the sepals are free or they are not united, they are called polysepalous condition. When the sepals are fused, they are called gamosepalous condition. See this diagram, and this is rosa. This is rose plant. If you see the rose plant, see these leaf green structures are called calyx, and these sepals are free. You can see the different. This is one sepal, this is second sepal. So this is calyx is free. But if you see this diagram, see, and here the calyx are united to form a cup-like structure or tubular structure. നിങ്ങൾ ചെമ്പരത്തി കണ്ടതാണ്. In hibiscus, calyx has formed into a cup. Okay. So calyx can be either free or it can be united. And when the calyx are free, it is called polysepalous calyx. It's called polysepalous. In the calyx as united, they are called gamosepalous calyx. Okay. So there are some variations. In some plants, as the flower bud opens, initially there will be calyx, but as the flower bud opens, the calyx will fall away. Calyx വിഴുന്നങ്ങ് പോകും. This is called caducous calyx. They are called caducous calyx. And at the same time, in some plant, calyx will survive till the falling of petals. When this calyx or when sepals and petals are falling, petals and sepals are falling once the fertilization is over. The mission of a flower or the objective of a flower is reproduction. So during reproduction, once fertilization is accomplished or fertilization is complete, or once the ovule is fertilized, it will convert it into a zygote. Then at that condition, petals and sepal can fall away. So if a calyx survives till the falling of petals, such kind of calyx are called deciduous calyx. They are called deciduous calyx. നിങ്ങൾക്കറിയാം താമര അല്ലി, താമര വളരുമ്പോൾ സെപ്പലും പെറ്റലും ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ട്. പക്ഷെ താമരയുടെ അല്ലി ഫോം ചെയ്ത് അതിനകത്ത് വിത്ത് മുകളിലോട്ട് നിൽക്കാൻ തുടങ്ങുമ്പോൾ പിന്നെ അതിനകത്ത് ഒന്നും കാണില്ല, എല്ലാം ഫോളോ ചെയ്ത് പോകും. ബട്ട് ടേക്ക് ദ കേസ് ഓഫ് ബ്രിഞ്ചാൾ, കത്തിരിക്ക. നിങ്ങൾ കത്തിരി എടുത്ത് നോക്കിയാൽ അറിയാം, വഴുതനയൊക്കെ എടുത്ത് നോക്കിയാൽ അതിന്റെ ബേസിൽ ഒരു പെർസിസ്റ്റന്റ് ആയിട്ട് ഒരു ലെയർ ഉണ്ട്. കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ? കത്തിരിയുടെ അടുത്ത് പെർസിസ്റ്റന്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ലെയർ ഉണ്ട്, അതിന്റെ പുറത്തുണ്ട്. കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടോ? ആൻഡ് ദാറ്റ് ലെയർ ഈസ് കോൾഡ് പെർസിസ്റ്റന്റ് കാലിക്സ്. അതാണ് പെർസിസ്റ്റന്റ് കാലിക്സ്. അതൊരിക്കലും എന്തില്ല, ഫോൾ ചെയ്ത് പോകില്ല. ദ പെർസിസ്റ്റന്റ് കാലിക്സ്. ഓക്കെ. സോ കാലിക്സ് ക്യാൻ ബി എയ്തർ caducous, deciduous or persistent. Now let's see what are the functions of calyx. They help the flower bud from injury as a protective layer. They can, as it is green, they can do photosynthesis. They can attract insect for pollination. And if the calyx is a hair-like structure, in some plants calyx is like a hair-like structure and it is called pappus calyx. അത് മെയിനായിട്ട് കാണുന്നത് കമ്പോസിറ്റേ ഫാമിലിയിലാണ്. സൺഫ്ലവറിന്റെ ഫാമിലിയിലൊക്കെ ചിലപ്പോൾ പാപ്പസ് കാലിക്സ് കാണാറുണ്ട്. ആൻഡ് ഇഫ് എ ഫ്ലവർ ഈസ് ഹാവിംഗ് പാപ്പസ് കാലിക്സ്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു പാപ്പക്സ് കാലിക്സ് ഉള്ള പ്ലാന്റ് ആണെങ്കിൽ അതിന്റെ ഫ്രൂട്ടിനെ പറത്തി കൊണ്ടുപോകാൻ, ഫ്രൂട്ട് ഡിസ്പേഴ്സലിൽ വിൻഡിൽ കൂടെ ഫ്രൂട്ട് ഡിസ്പേഴ്സ് ചെയ്യാനും അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഏതെങ്കിലും അറ്റാച്ച്മെന്റിലൂടെ അതിന്റെ സീഡ് ഡിസ്പേഴ്സ് ചെയ്തൊക്കെ പോകാൻ വേണ്ടി സഹായിക്കുന്ന ഒരു സ്ഥലമാണ് പാപ്പസ് കാലിക്സ്. So let's see the corolla. The most attraction of a flower is its color, or the attractive feature of a flower is its color. If the flower doesn't have this kind of coloration, it won't be attractive. So they are also leaf-like structures but color. They are having a position inner to calyx, and their size will also be larger than the petals. They are colored. They will be having smell, good scented. They will be having many petals. Then it is called a polypetalous, and petals are free. And when the petals are fused, they are called gamopetalous. Okay. Now, what are the functions of corolla? They are having smell, scented ആണ്. Then if they are fused, they are called gamopetalous. And the gamopetalous corolla have the capacity of storing nectar. Honey, namukariya plants nathu honey undu. This honey is stored in the corolla tube and then when they are gamopetalous. Then during bud ആയിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ petals also give protection to stamens and carpels. Okay. But in some plants, especially in monocots, petals and sepals are not differentiated. In some plants, petals and sepals are not differentiated. Such form of calyx and corolla which are morphologically similar are called perianth. And the individual units of perianth are called tepals. So when calyx and corolla are not distinguishable, they are called perianth. And here the individual units or the units of perianth are not sepals or petals, but they are called tepals. They are called tepals. So perianth can also be an united structure or a free structure. If the tepals are free, that condition is called polyphylous or polytepalous. When the tepals are free, that condition is called polyphylous or polytepalous. And if the perianth are fused, that condition is called gamophylous or gamotepalous. Okay, so may I repeat once again? When there is no distinction between calyx and corolla, the units are called tepals. And if tepals are united, that is called polytepalous. So if the tepals are free, they are called polytepalous. And if the tepals are united, they are called gamotepalous. And if the tepals resemble leaf, or if the tepals are greenish like a calyx, they are called sepaloid perianth. They are called sepaloid perianth. And if the tepals are colored, they are called petaloid perianth. They are called petaloid perianth. Now let's see what are the functions of perianth. They have both functions of calyx and corolla. They can protect the flower bud. They help in the attraction of organisms, insects and other organisms for doing fertilization. If it is sepaloid, they will help in photosynthesis. And this is about calyx and corolla.